You are listening to a podcast by the Little School of Happiness. My name is Sandra Hayes and I'm your host. Here you will find episodes on all the Vedic teachings like yoga, Ayurveda and Vedic astrology. For more information about me and my offerings, please go to sandrahayes.eu, or if you're in Germany, sandrahayes.de. Hello again and welcome to another episode on the nakshatras. And today we are actually finishing the first cycle of the nakshatras because they come in lines of 9. So there's 9 nakshatras in a row that will complete one part of or one layer of a hero's journey. And then it will begin again with the planetary ruler of Ketu. We started with the planetary ruler of Ketu in Ashwini Nakshatra, and then we moved into the Venus-ruled nakshatra of Bharani, and then into the Sun-ruled nakshatra of Kritika, and after that we had the Moon-ruled Rohini, and then the Mars-ruled Mrigashira, and then after that was Rahu and Ardra Nakshatra, and then Jupiter and Punarvasu, and then Saturn and Pushya. And now we come to the last of the planets, which is Mercury, and the Mercury-ruled nakshatra in this cycle is Ashlesha Nakshatra. Ashlesha Nakshatra, it's the serpent's embrace. It is all about transformation, intuition, and about inner alchemy. Because when the moon moves into Ashlesha Nakshatra, we enter the final place of Cancer, the final few degrees, 13 degrees and 20 minutes, that go from 1640 to 30 degrees of Cancer, which is, finishing up cleanly at the end of the water sign. So we begin in the fire signs and we end in the water signs. And Ashlesha is not like Pushya at all. Pushya was all soft and maternal, but Ashlesha carries the energy of a serpent, a snake. It's the coiled up Kundalini energy. It's the shapeshifter, shadow dweller. This is the nakshatra of power, of charisma, of secrecy, and also of potential transformation. And the name actually means the entwiner or the embracer. And its symbolism is that of a snake or serpent coiled around something, coiled around the heart or coiled around the mind. And it's asking us, what are we entangled with? What poisons have we taken in this life? And are we ready to turn the poison into medicine? So what is, the trauma maybe that we have had, and are we ready now to turn that into a strength? Or what is it that we're clinging on to, and can we allow now to free ourselves? Ashlesha offers us a real deep intuitive insight, but it also brings or can bring a lot of intensity and sometimes also a lot of manipulation and illusion. So there's always, as you know by now, there's always two sides. There's always a shadow side and a light side in every single nakshatra or in every sign or planet. And for this one, it can bring a lot of liberation, but it can also bring illusion and intensity. It's a place where the ego can really tighten its grip, but also it's a place at the same time, it's a place where the soul can break free to freedom, to just be yourself and rid ourselves from past karma. So this is a really, good potential, good opportunity that Ashlesha Nakshatra is offering us. So the ruling deity of Ashlesha are actually the snakes, the Nagas. The Nagas are kind of half gods or semi divine serpent beings who live in the underworld of the Vedic worlds. And they are the guardians of hidden treasures. And that's both material and also spiritual. They are associated with a lot of wisdom and with fertility as well, and also with the subconscious and with Kundalini energy, the coiled power of Kundalini energy that is asleep but can be awakened. And there are many well-known Nagas, but maybe the most famous of the stories is Ananta Shesha. This is the endless serpent on whom Vishnu was resting. Between every cycle of creation, Vishnu is resting. And Shesha, or Ananta Shesha, floats in the cosmic ocean, and it's coiled up there, and it represents the eternal foundation of the universe. It's time itself. It's the snake of time. And it's also the matrix of energy. So it's like the fundamental particles that when the time is right at the Big Bang will awaken and form into atoms and molecules that will form into all sorts of an infinite number of things, of living things. And so Shesha coils around to hold all the worlds in him. And he has a hood, and it's like a cobra snake, and that hood shields Vishnu while he is lying on him, like on a sofa, on a floating sofa or in a floating bed. And while he's lying there, he's asleep and he dreams. Vishnu dreams the world into being. So this is the unconscious mind that creates all these visions and ideas, because a world can only be created when first there is an idea for it. Anything in evolution can only emerge when first there is a need for it, first there's a longing for it. So, anything that we've evolved into, even, when we have animals, for example, in the sea, we have, marine animals, and then all of a sudden, and they're happy there and they find enough food, and then all of a sudden there might be a meteorite hitting the earth and heating up the water and destroying a lot of the area. And so these mammals cannot find enough food anymore, so they are forced to move toward the shore. And as they move toward the shore, the water is more and more shallow, and as they get into the shallow water, their fins have to push against the ocean floor to keep them up. And as they do so, the muscles strengthen, the bones lengthen, and they become stronger fins, maybe first of all, that can rob, or little tiny legs of amphibians that can move them out of the water. And then, and as they do, more and more things happen, and they, evolve into different beings. But that evolution has started with the wish, the longing, the need for food, for nourishment. And so it is with everything. We need to have a longing for something first. And to have a longing, we have to have a dream. We have to have a vision. And Vishnu is here on this cosmic ocean, on the curled up snake, and is dreaming. And Shesha is just there. It's the snake. It's calm. It's eternal. And in one of the stories, there is another figure called Vasuki, and the churning of the ocean of milk that is represented by, this image of a white foaming ocean that is being churned. And we can imagine, of course, the Milky Way as this is like a white ocean that is churned, and it's a spiral shaped galaxy, and everything that exists comes out of this churning of the ocean. And so in this story that is quite well known, when the Devas and Asuras had to join forces to extract the Amrita, the nectar of immortality, because this is the rule when we want to churn something out of this ocean of potentiality, then the dualities have to merge. All the opposite forces have to come together and merge together, positive and negative, feminine and masculine. They have to come together, and then we can churn anything out of that milk ocean. And in this story, the Devas and Asuras had to join forces to extract that nectar of immortality. And when they did that, they actually worked together for once. But to churn out that nectar of immortality, they needed a rope. And Vasuki volunteered to serve as the churning rope. And so this snake, Vasuki, wrapped himself around this great big mountain. And so the Devas and Asuras would pull on the rope so that the mountain spins. And as they did so, the snake Vasuki suffered quite a lot of strain and pain. And so he released a lot of poison as well. And it was quite a potent poison that threatened to destroy the whole world, actually. And yet again, Shiva came to the rescue, and Shiva drank the poison. He sacrificed himself, basically, and drank the poison and held it in his throat. And because of that, his throat turned blue. And so he had gotten then another name, Nilakanta, the blue-throated one, which is yet another form of Shiva. And so this story just shows the sacrificial strength of the Nagas, of these divine snakes, and their connection to both poison and to immortality as well. And they have a place as liminal beings. They're between the opposites. They're not part of the Asuras. They're not part of the Devas, but they are in between. They are the tool that both need. They are the method, and they are the sacrifice. So they are important, very important, and very crucial energies or being that we need for our liberation. And they are set to guard treasures, like in this story they did guard the ocean of potentiality, or the nectar of immortality. So it's not just gold, but actually inner knowledge as well. And particularly when it comes to healing or secret realms and secret esoteric knowledge, then, they become important. And in a lot of stories, they are connected to the subconscious mind, or the mysteries of life and death and of rebirth. And so, the themes and the symbolism of Ashlesha, it's the coiled energy, the coiled Kundalini. It's very intimately connected to the nervous system, actually, and the subtle body, because, this is where a lot of this energy sleeps, and especially the energy of Kundalini. It's the primal force that lives inside of us. And this nakshatra can access our real hidden, deep psychic abilities and penetrating our insight, our intuition, and our inner wisdom that we all have. But it can also become tangled up in pride or in paranoia sometimes as well. And it is about entanglement as well. It's, when you imagine this coiled up serpent that is wrapping itself around something, it's attaching itself around something. So there's a lot of entanglement, but with the potential for liberation. So this nakshatra shows where are we entwined and entangled in karma, in ego, in emotional pattern, in control dramas. Maybe people with Ashlesha placements, they might be drawn to control, or it might be hard to surrender to things or let go of things. But their path is really about learning to release the grip and move away and move toward inner freedom. And it is also about poison and purification. The Shakti of Ashlesha, the hidden power of Ashlesha, is to poison or to intoxicate. And that can mean literal toxins, but also toxic thoughts or toxic relationships or toxic karmas. So this can be a theme for people with Ashlesha Nakshatra, but with the promise also, or with the potential for purification or liberation. And also there is a lot of emotional depth in Ashlesha Nakshatra people, but also sometimes isolation. They can feel really deeply, but they might not easily express their emotions. And they can be a little bit secretive maybe, or inward turning, or introverted, and they might have a need to process emotion when they're alone in solitude. But once they've integrated, their emotional intelligence is really quite profound. And with Mercury as the planetary ruler, Ashlesha brings mental intelligence anyway. So there's a lot of intelligence, even brilliance in Ashlesha people. But, there is the light side of that, which, can be used for healing and for truth, but also for harm. They can be manipulative, or, so it's important to stay in the truth always, as it always is with all of these nakshatras. So what can we do? We can practice with the Ashlesha energy. We can use our journaling practice, for example. Shadow journaling is a really good thing to do with Ashlesha energy when the moon is in Ashlesha. So we can write about maybe, what am I entangled with that I might not want to be entangled with? Or where am I holding poison? What's toxic in my life? Or what needs to be brought from the shadow to the light? And we could also have, do little meditations. We could visualize a snake, a serpent coiled at the base of our spine, and imagine it slowly uncurling to upwards, with our breath. And there's a beautiful breathing meditation as well that we can do, that we can breathe. When we breathe in, we breathe from the top of the spine to the very bottom of the spine. And when we breathe out, we let the energy travel up again. And breathe with that consciousness, that breath awareness for a while. And we can imagine then as this energy slowly coils upward along the spine, and then just let it show you what needs to be released or what needs to be transformed. What's also really good breathing practice is Nadi Shodhana. It's the alternate nostril breathing, where you breathe in, you gently close the right nostril, and you breathe in through the left, and then you close the left nostril and you breathe out even more slowly through the right, and then you breathe in through the right again, and then you change again and you breathe out through the left. So always alternating in through the left, out through the right, in through the right, out through the left, and making the breath slow and gentle, and if possible, making the out breath maybe even twice as long as the in breath. And another very important practice for all of the nakshatras, but maybe especially for Ashlesha, is the self-honesty practice. So reflecting on my own use of power, charm, or influence, or manipulations, or what am I doing to manipulate others? And can I shift that energy? Maybe can I shift it from control back into clarity? And then also I can take intentional time to be alone and to process my emotions, to sit with my emotions, welcome my emotions, and be with the emotions without immediately wanting to react. So this is not quite a comfortable nakshatra, Ashlesha, as there are a few that are not quite as comfortable as others, but all nakshatras always, and this is really important to note, that all nakshatras have light and shadow. So even if there is something uncomfortable, the more uncomfortable a placement is, the more potential there could be for the gift to emerge eventually, for the power to manifest, for the liberation to happen. And Ashlesha is a really powerful one, and it teaches us to face what is hidden, to acknowledge what coils around our hearts, and it helps us rise up through this inner turmoil. It's the serpent's embrace. It's potentially liberating. And we are asked here to really see through illusion and to embrace our own shadow, and to walk the path, the winding path of self-discovery. So we can ask, what truth is beneath my surface? What needs to be detangled? And also important, snake image is the shedding of the skin. Where am I ready to shed old skin? So I hope again that this has been helpful to you, and I hope that it will inspire you to transform wisely and speak truthfully, and maybe also to honor the serpent not as an enemy but as a guide. So thank you so much for listening, and I will be back soon with more nakshatras. Until then, bye for now. You were listening to a podcast by the Little School of Happiness. For more information, please go to sandrahayes.eu, or if you are in Germany, sandrahayes.de.